First of all, Mr. Henry, obviously thanks for taking the time to chat with us today. And I think the first question I have to ask you is, why did you buy Liverpool Football Club?
We have a unique skill set at Fenway Sports Group, and I think it is perfectly suited for, in the U.S. sometimes we call them breaking curses. We had an 86-year drought in Boston for winning a World Series, and there's been a 20-year drought for winning the first division since the Premier Leagues existed. We haven't won that. So I think that throughout the process, we looked at similarities between what we had accomplished in Boston, what we thought we could do in Liverpool, and I think there was a very strong feeling among us that we were, as I said, uniquely perhaps qualified, even though we didn't know the sport. We knew the sports business. We know what it takes to put together a sports organization. We felt that we could do that, and it's competing at the highest level in the world's most popular sport. That was just an attraction we couldn't pass up.
After the previous owners, there was fear among Liverpool fans of the club being passed from one set of American owners to another. What did you do to allay those fears?
Well, we've tried to reach out as best we can, let them know how involved we are on a day-to-day basis, and we spend every day trying to build the club organizationally so that we can move it forward. It's been sort of going in some ways in a circle for the past couple of years, and so I think the fans see forward progress, that we're hiring people, we're making changes, and this is a long-term project.
You know about passionate fans owning the Boston Red Sox, but talk about your initial reaction to Liverpool fans when you first stepped inside Anfield.
Well, it was terrific. The COP is unrivaled. The atmosphere. I was really surprised because we've heard so much about needing a new stadium, and we were surprised at how beautiful Anfield was. And it would be hard, just as it would have been hard to move when we bought the Red Sox, to move out of Fenway Park because of the history and the magic that happens every night at Fenway. Similarly, I think that was my feeling when I first went to Anfield, both just viewing it as an empty stadium and then with the first game, that it'd be hard to replicate that feeling anywhere else. But we're still in the middle of that process, trying to decide what's in the best long-term interest of the club.
Anfield is as important to Liverpool fans as Fenway is to Boston fans. Will you look to refurbish Anfield, or will you look to move to a new stadium?
That would probably be the first choice, but you have to do what's in the best interest of Liverpool Football Club, the community at large. But really, we have to focus on what's best for this club. That's really what the community at large wants. They want a winning Liverpool club. So that's got to be our first focus. Our primary focus? What's in the best long-term interests of the club moving forward?
Are you surprised the fans have taken to you so quickly?
I think because there was probably a huge sense of relief that this ownership saga had been settled, and I think that they probably took some comfort that even though we were Americans, we'd been successful in American sports, and so but there's no doubt about it. You're right. There's been a real, what I would call, generosity of spirit from the people and the supporters of Liverpool thus far, and something we're really thankful for.
Liverpool fans wanted King Kenny Dalglish back. You delivered. Talk about the process of installing him back as Liverpool manager.
Well, we knew we wanted to have a caretaker, so to speak. We didn't want to be forced into an immediate decision. We knew we wanted to change the type of football we were playing. We wanted to move to a much more positive sort of pass and move philosophy, and the philosophy that we were playing under just didn't seem to suit the club. So we knew we had to make a change, and when we did, I talked with Kenny about it. I said we just need someone to come in for 6 months and stabilize the franchise, the club on the field, the club in general. And boy, you could not have made, it's still early, but in retrospect, you could not have made, in our case, it was very fortunate for us, but we couldn't have made a better choice.
Now, you've been around a lot of sports and a lot of big-name players and managers, but have you ever come across someone so revered by one set of fans as Kenny Dalglish is by Liverpool?
That's a good question. Probably not. I can't imagine how anybody could be more beloved by fans, not just for what he accomplished on the field, but what he did off the field through some very difficult times for the club and for the supporters. It's really, and I know that he, for a long time now, has wanted to be in this position. So it's a great thing for the club, for Kenny, for us.
Liverpool has a reputation in the past for bringing through young players. How important is that from not only a business standpoint, but from a fan standpoint, to see these young, homegrown, talented players like Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher continue to come through the ranks?
It's extremely important because, and you say as from a business standpoint, it's also important because it's a much more inexpensive way to develop stars than to just go out and purchase them. If the more stars you can bring through on your own, the more money you have available to spend for to really strengthen the team. So it's an economic focus, but the primary focus is, and one of the great things when you sit down with either Jamie or Steven, there's no doubt that their first concern is the club. So when you come through the club, I think that's the right way to develop players. We've seen it with Barcelona. The Barcelona model is terrific. Arsenal's done a great job of developing younger players.
The team is obviously not where the fans are. You would like to see them at this stage. What are your thoughts on that?
The one thing we had a very big issue with, and the one thing that would have kept us from buying the club, was we did enough due diligence to see that the club had been making, how would I say it, players had been coming in for a certain period of time that weren't what we would consider to be Big Four players. So we knew we had to turn that around. We knew that was going to be difficult because the club, frankly, had a huge salary base that was a lot of it long-term. And so we knew we had, I spoke the day after we bought the club about we have some big challenges, and that's really what I was talking about.
The curse in Boston lasted 86 years. Liverpool's current Premier League drought is at 20 years. What would it mean for you to deliver that city a Premier League title?
Just gave me goosebumps. It's just, it's what we're there for. I mean, we have no other agenda than that. That is why we are there. That's what everyone in the organization is working toward. We want to be the best in football, and Manchester United has 18 championships. We have 18. If nothing else, that should be enough to drive us forward. It's beginning to look like Manchester United could edge ahead this year. So we've got our work cut out for us.
Now, you're involved in two of the biggest rivalries in world sports: the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees, and now Liverpool against Manchester United. Talk about those two rivalries, and I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you which is the bigger rivalry.
That does put me on the spot because it's hard to imagine. You know, everyone in the U.S. always seems to say that the Yankees versus the Red Sox is the biggest rivalry in sports. However, I don't know what the term is, but in provincial or whatever, in America, we seem to think that if we win the Major League Baseball championship, it's the World Championship, and so it seems like it's the biggest in the world. But it's a tremendous rivalry. It's hard to imagine anything bigger. But I think they're pretty much equivalent because when you look at Manchester United versus Liverpool, we're told there's somewhere between I don't know, you might know this better than I, but I've heard somewhere between 200 million and 400 million people across the world watch every time the two teams play, and 30 miles apart. We were at Old Trafford recently for a match, and I won't tell you what they called us as we were walking in, but it's just an incredible rivalry. And so we are so fortunate at Fenway Sports Group to be in the middle of perhaps the two largest, or certainly two of the largest rivalries in the history of sports. So to be able to say which is bigger is too difficult for me. You stumped me.